It's time for the Money Puzzle Podcast. With good conversations and realistic solutions to the money puzzles we all face every day. I'm your host, financial advisor, chartered financial consultant, and president of Edgen Insurance and Financial, Robert Edgen. Now let's get this show started. Hi there, hello, and welcome to the Money Puzzle Podcast. I am Robert Edgen, and I'll be your guide for the ride for the next few minutes. Each week, we look at a different piece of the money puzzle and practical ways to solve it so you can have the financial confidence you deserve and the
future that you dream of.
That's right. Here with me in studio again, back to back, it's my business partner from Denver. If you were a car, you'd be the Broadster. I don't know. I'm running out of ways to describe you.
I know.
Brian Johnson, coming down from Denver again. I've actually enjoyed having you in the studio because
it is fun.
I do like to talk a lot, but talking to somebody else versus just myself and the camera, it just feels a little bit better.
I know. You need somebody else to bounce your
amazing ideas off of.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So we have been looking at the money moves to make in your 40s. We've been going through this whole series now. We started with your 20s and then your 30s. Last week, we looked at money moves number 7, 6, 5, and 4 to make in your 40s.
Yes, we did.
And we have 3 more that we need to get through.
Yep.
So I'm really excited to get into that conversation. But before we get to our hot topic for today, I do a lot of reading and research that I come across with different financial news headlines that catch my eye. So I thought we would take a minute to look at some news. Today's news comes to us from BuzzFeed, and the headline reads, Police charged 3 nursing home workers with running a fight club of patients with dementia.
Oh my God.
Yes. According to the story, 3 workers at a North Carolina assisted living home have been arrested following allegations that they were running a fight club style operation made up of elderly patients.
Were they taking bets?
They were.
Oh, geez.
And she said the elder care facility called the Danby House, they specialize in caring for patients with Alzheimer's. This is a horrible, horrible thing. The 3 employees were encouraging the residents to physically fight each other. And in at least one of the cases, one of the employees got involved and they were filming it.
They put it on YouTube.
So, oh my gosh, this is absolutely ridiculous. So, the first rule of Fight Club is
don't talk about Fight Club.
Don't talk about Fight Club. Yes, this is wrong for so many reasons, but then the fact that you're
for every reason, not so many, every reason.
Every reason. Can you believe that this stuff goes on?
Yes. In a world in which Denver wants heroin shooting facilities, it makes sense.
Everything makes sense to you?
It does, yeah.
Yes. Fortunately, all 3 of these employees were arrested.
Good.
And it does say that they're saying that no injuries were reported, but I'm not really sure how they knew that. They began investigating in June.
When they went to prison, or if they're in prison, do they have a Fight Club prison that they get put into?
It should be forced.
It should be. Why not?
So that's right. A forced fight club for people who started fight clubs with elderly patients with dementia. Horrible. There's horrible people out there.
It is. It's ridiculous.
So, all right. If you want to read that whole article, it is kind of interesting and there is quite a bit more to it. You can find the headline and the notes and the link to it in our show notes down below. You're still reading it.
I am. It's
you can't believe it.
The facility has since implemented a stronger vetting process. What?
More staff training. Shouldn't the only staff training be don't run fight clubs?
I know, exactly.
Yeah. We're having mandatory staff training about fight clubs today. Don't run fight clubs.
Oh, geez.
I know, it's ridiculous. Anyways, check out the link to that in the show notes directly below the video on the webpage or on YouTube. That's it for now. Let's go ahead and get to today's hot topic. All right, so we've been talking about money moves to make in your 40s, and it's important to have these conversations because, kind of like we talked about last week, you probably are midway through life, but you're probably 2/3 of the way through your working career.
That's right.
You probably have 20 to 30 years left of working, but hopefully, 50 years left of living.
Hopefully.
110? No, that'd be 90 if you're, I guess if you're 40.
No, you said if you're 50, you have 50 years of retirement.
I said if you're 40, you probably have another 50 years.
I got you. Okay.
Anyways.
He wants to be 90.
I would love to live to be 90.
All right.
Yeah. Do you have an age you want to live to be?
No, I do not.
No. I want to live to be as old as I can possibly be.
I want to see grandkids.
So Totally. I want to see grandkids, great-grandkids, and great-great-grandkids.
110.
110. I'm okay with that. With medical advances, I think it's entirely possible.
Tube, oxygen.
So it's all. Listen, I want to live as long as it feels like living. All right, here we go. So we've been talking about the importance of making good financial moves in each decade of your life. Last week we talked about number 7 was maximizing your earnings.
Right.
Number 6, consider converting some of your term insurance to perm insurance. Number 5, look at your tax strategies.
Yes.
And number 4, check your portfolio. You might need to diversify and do some rebalancing.
Right. Absolutely.
All right, so let's finish this conversation. There's still 3 money moves to make. Yep. Number 3 is
insurance review of your auto, your home, and possibly adding an umbrella policy to the mix. Now, liability insurance is the cheapest insurance that you can buy.
So real quick, an umbrella insurance policy, for people who don't know what that is, that's an extra liability insurance policy in case you get sued.
Right. Yeah.
In fact, all of your liability coverages
is for that.
It's for getting sued, or it's for protecting you really from when you are
it's not
sued.
necessarily getting sued, but if you were the driver of a car that was texting, let's not do that, and you rear end somebody with a bunch of people in the car and you cause serious injuries, an umbrella will pick up where your regular auto insurance bodily injury leaves off.
Liability insurance is what covers, it's what pays for you when you are liable or responsible for someone else's injuries or property damage, right? So as you get older and as you build more assets and a bigger income, you have more at risk if you are sued or if you hurt somebody.
And it would be a shame to not be able to retire because of an auto accident. And for something as an umbrella, I don't know, what are they, a couple $100 a year these days?
Yeah, $200-300 per year.
A year for $1 million in liability is cheap.
So, well, here's a real life story of what happened. This is with another person that we know in the industry, and this is his client who had auto insurance, and his 16-year-old son was taking some friends up skiing. And he hit some ice, kind of lost control, but didn't know how to correct it because he was a young driver. He ended up, unfortunately, dying in a car crash, and he killed one other individual, and he put 6 in the hospital. Okay, all horrible stuff. What would have compounded that was, the family had a decent amount of money, and then everybody came after them, of course, for the medical bills and the pain and suffering and the loss of life.
Right.
So now you've got this family who lost their 16-year-old, which is tragic, right? But now if they would have also lost all of their life savings and their assets and not been able to live their life while still dealing with losing their son.
How do you grieve?
Right. So liability insurance is extremely important. You cannot just build your assets. You have to protect your assets as well.
Absolutely.
So, and one of the easiest, cheapest ways to do that?
Umbrella insurance. Yeah.
Liability insurance.
Yeah, absolutely. I carry $1 million on my car.
And an umbrella.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So an umbrella policy extends your liability above any of your other policies is what it does. So, all right, look and find out, do I have enough liability to protect my income, to protect my assets in case something goes horribly wrong and other people are hurt or their property is damaged and they want to come after me. Okay. In Colorado, we got the strong arm. Right. Actually, that's not just in Colorado. That's not
I think he's
Colorado
nationwide.
Thing. Yeah,
because I remember him back in Michigan.
So the strong arm, they want to take all of your money, and liability insurance will help protect that.
So one of my favorite ones, number 2, is starting to pay your home off early. Now, we had a lot of debate about this, and I'm not saying that we say, okay, geez, we want to have it paid off by the time we're 50, right? But coming up with some game plan to say, okay, we're going to pay an extra $100 a month of principal, $200, $500, $1,000, whatever the case may be, whatever's right for you. But look at paying that home off early, because it's one of those things that we do not want to take into retirement is a house payment.
That's right. If you have a house payment when you're in retirement, your living is going to be, or your quality or enjoyment of retirement is going to be less because you've got to spend that pleasure money on servicing a debt.
That's right.
On paying an expense, right?
Right.
So Brian's absolutely right. It's not that we're saying, pay off your house in your 40s, but start paying your house off early if you've not already done so. Yeah. I would actually recommend finding out, okay, I'm 40 years old or I'm 42 years old. I've got 18 years to go until retirement and I owe X number of dollars on my house. How much extra should I pay? Now, it doesn't mean you necessarily can pay
He's
that
very
much.
ambitious, retiring at 60.
So, I want to get it paid off by the time I'm 60.
Right.
So, even if I'm not retiring at 60, that's my goal, is to pay my house off by the age of 60. So, you can look and say, I need to pay this much per month extra. But even if you're only paying an extra $100 a month,
that's right.
It saves you a tremendous amount of money in interest.
It does.
It saves you a whole bunch of money over the course of your life. But whatever you do, you don't want to go into retirement owing money on your house. So the earlier you start paying it off, the better.
The better.
So, all right. So starting to pay your house off early. And then number one, we've talked in the past, and in fact, in your 30s, we said do a simple financial plan.
Right.
And the simple financial plan was really only looking at just a couple of things.
Yeah, your retirement, what you're going to need in retirement, and your life insurance.
That's right. A couple of things. Well, now it's time to do a little bit more comprehensive financial planning.
Right.
It's time to sit down. In fact, Brian and I just met with a client today who it's okay. Now it's time, looking at your entire financial picture. How do all of the things fit together in order to build that financial plan that's going to get you through to retirement and then beyond?
That's right.
You've been, in fact, I liked you were, telling this to our client today because you're doing some research on a paper that you're writing about millionaires.
Yeah.
Right. And one of the biggest things about millionaires was?
They all have a written plan.
Right. That was a study done that you're doing the research from a report of a study of 10,000 millionaires. Is that right?
Yeah, so it was done by Chris Hogan and Dave Ramsey. Yeah.
Yeah, and the number one thing they had in common is that they all had a financial plan.
Yep.
So a financial plan it's not just a roadmap. It also it starts with a roadmap to say, yeah, here's where I am, here's where I want to go. But it breaks down all of the different things that you need to do, and it compiles them into a living document.
It does. And one of those big things is those cash flows. We need to know those cash flows going into retirement and what things are going to be looking like, because you got health insurance, which is a huge issue, possibly long-term care, which is another big issue. Where is that cash going to come from? So looking at cash flows now will benefit you going into retirement, because we'll already have a good handle on what that's going to look like.
Yeah, and when you're in your 40s, you build out a comprehensive financial plan. It's going to look at all of these different components:
taxes, estates, cash flows,
life insurance, everything, right? Everything financial. It's going to look at your liability insurance. It's bringing all of these things together. We know, and I'm sure you know, that your life will be different over the next 20 years, right? It will not stay the same. But still, if you have kind of a roadmap of here's where I am and here's where I want to go, even if things get off on detours, you can still look back at the map and figure out how to get back on track.
That's right, absolutely.
Right? Or make small tweaks and adjustments. But if you don't have a map, you don't know where to go.
That's right.
So, all right. So number one, it's time to do a full, comprehensive financial plan.
Yes.
Right? All right. So that's it for the things to do in your 40s. There's 7, right? Maximize earnings, permanent insurance, tax strategies, diversify and rebalance your portfolio. We talked about those last week.
That was number 4.
That's
so
right.
Number 3 is going to be a complete insurance review, specifically your liability coverage.
Yep.
Number 2 was starting to pay the home off quickly, I guess you could say. And then lastly, number 1 would be a full comprehensive financial plan.
Yeah. All right. Listen, if you've got a question about your own money puzzle, feel free to email it to us at questions@yourmoneypuzzle.com. If you got some value out of today's show, please share it with a friend or a family member who needs to hear it. Give us a thumbs up on YouTube. Rate us. Give us some stars on whatever podcast app you're listening to this podcast on. Go out there, have some fun. Be safe, and go do something to improve your money puzzle. Your future self would thank you for it.
Registered representative of and securities offered through Securities Management and Research, Inc., SM&R. Member FINRA SIPC. Investment advisory services offered through BFC Planning, Inc. Edgen Insurance and Financial Services, Johnson Financial Services, SM&R, American National Family of Companies, and BFC Planning are independent entities. There are risks involved with investing which may include market fluctuation and possible loss of principal value. Particular investments may not be suitable for certain situations. Carefully consider the risks and possible consequences involved prior to making an investment decision. Our firm does not provide legal or tax advice. Be sure to consult with your own legal and tax advisors before taking any action that may have tax implications.